tell me your name.
Lavelle Namor Oates Ill, aka Namor Amen Moab Ill.
Yes, sir. Welcome to I Got Something to Say. And why are you here today?
I got something to say.
Yes, sir. You're on the right platform. We're going to give you the flow. Tell us what you got to say, bro.
Well, first of all, I would like to say that the issues that we're having today as so-called black people, Negroes, whatever you want to call it as a minority, is solvable. And most people don't know this, or they know it, but they don't believe in it. And again, I think that's because we have been trained by the public food system to not believe in ourselves or to always look for help outside of ourselves in order to get to where you need to be. Because again, I don't know now. I'm just going to see from my point of view, everything that's being did now, so-called to save the people, to save the brothers, all of this has been did already. There's nothing new that anybody's doing that hasn't been done. You can check through history. Everything we're doing as so-called Negroes in America has already been done. And it is getting us nowhere. Matter of fact, we hustling backwards. So therefore, again, I feel that I know the only way to become truly free is to become a national, which is a Moorish American national, which is what you are, and that was your status. And that's the thing. Nobody understands it. Nobody talks about it because we have not been trained in these things. So we have to be trained and understand what status is. And status is just basically how the world or the government or anybody else sees you. And you have to know these things. Nobody understands that. You just think you're seen as a man, and we don't even know what a human being is or what a person is. You know what I'm saying? These are all key factors and words that we don't even really truly understand. A person is anything except for a man. It's a corporation, it's a LLC, it's all of that. Same difference if you look up the true meaning of human in the dictionary, in the older dictionaries, it will say sea monster. Because again, now everybody always talks about religion and all these things. You look in the religious book, it doesn't speak of colors. It speaks of nations. So in order to be recognized as a man, you have to have a tie to a nation. Negroes have no tie to a nation. We wasn't even brought here. We were tricked into believing that we were brought here. Again, do the research and find out who you are. We are the aboriginal indigenous people to the world, let alone the continent of America. The oldest body that they found was the Kennewick man in Kennewick, Washington. And when they found the body, the natives went to claim him, but after they did the DNA test, they understood and knew that he was us. He was the so-called Negro. And since that time, it becomes clear. Now you never hear any issue or even an argument about who the original man is, because that's already scientifically proven. That's not an argument. But as the original man, a Negro has to proclaim his nationality because it was taken from when you became a Negro. So that's the true freedom. Nobody wants to know it. Nobody wants to understand it. Everybody finds a reason not to do it. They get to talking about religion and all these other things, which to me personally, it doesn't matter. I'm looking to be free. That's it. That's all. I could care less about somebody, how they feel about religion, how they feel about whatever. You did what I'm saying. The only way you can be free is to proclaim who you are. But if you don't know who you are, that becomes the issue. This is why we have so many problems. Matter of fact, they got it's a Moorish parable. It states that what was it? Were the young people or the young gods when we were God before we fell to this plane called manifest, or to this plane made manifest, that there was things going on. The older gods had got older, younger ones were coming into their power, so they making it lightning and thunder. boom, boom, all through the galaxy, basically. So the older ones, like, man, they got them up in the morning, told them, look, y'all got to stop that when we're sleeping. You can't do that. They like, all right, cool. And it was cool for about 3-4 days. But again, as a youngster, it's hard to tell you something when you coming into your power, when you realizing who you are. So they made the thunderstorms, rain, all of that. The next morning, now the elders had a meeting. One of them like, what we gonna do about them? Somebody like, we gonna take their powers. And they was like, what? Okay, cool. What do we do? We gonna hide them? Somebody like, we gonna hide them on the moon. They won't find them. Somebody like, no, they'll find them there. Somebody like, hide them in the sea. They got way, way deep down the sea. They'll never find them there. Somebody like, no, they'll find them. Somebody like, hide them 5 galaxies away in the Milky Way. Like, no, they gonna find them. Then one of the older guys was like, no, put their powers inside of them. They never think to look there. So that's the key. We never think to look within ourselves. We tear the world up looking for help or looking to save ourselves when we were blessed with God, Allah, whoever you want to call him, with everything we needed to be free. So that's the way I see it, and that's the way it comes to true freedom from that point, because we all need to be on a level playing field in order for us to get the things that we deserve or that are ours. When you're playing from the back, you can't move forward. How do you move forward when somebody else is controlling your whole narrative, your whole well-being, and telling you who you are? Our training, again, because I don't call it an education. We were never educated by the public food system. We were trained. And in that training, everything, anybody that's a so-called minority, when you come through the American public food system, it teaches you that you are nothing, especially a Negro. All they talk about is slavery, is Black History Month. It's like our history just started 500 years ago. These are things that as a child, you're devastated. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't see yourself in anything, and that it's clear. They make sure you don't see yourself. So your self-confidence is taken away, even though we become stronger, but our self-confidence is taken away because we aren't taught who we are. There's nothing, nowhere at anybody, please tell me, let me know, anywhere in the world where you can go and just be you, be a brother, be a minority or whatever they call them, which is not a minority, which is the majority if you actually do the math. But again, that's the minority means psychologically that you're in darkness. That's what minority means. It doesn't mean skin color. Again, check these things out. But that's it. Until you understand who you are and do the research about yourself, which we can't do that because, again, we have been trained to be lazy. We have been trained that certain things mean that and that's that and won't nothing happen. So therefore, our laziness has prevented us from getting true freedom. And again, I'm not telling you things. Matter of fact, I always say, I ain't gonna told you, I'm gonna show you. Again, you have to get and understand who you are in order to move forward. And that's basically it in a nutshell.
So let me ask you a question. If I wanted to become a more, what would be the steps that I would have to go to understand to get to that?
And I'm glad you asked that. It would be a Moorish American is the term, but you claim your Moorish nationality. And the way I did it was through the Moorish Science Temple. But again, now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that all temples going to teach you how to be Moorish American, but they have everything on the internet that you need. I ain't going to lie. But I will assist LNO Consulting to help you get everything you need and if you really want to do it. But what you have to do is know who you are. So the first thing you would have to do, there's a thing called the Century Register where all people are recorded and there are no Negroes on the Century Register. And again, that's well, I'm good you even brought that up or made me think about it, that Malcolm X put in a complaint in the World Court and in the UN, basically for the Negroes to get rights. And if you can look that up, it states in that decision that they know there are no people known as Negroes. So that in and of itself help people understand. But you would have to make a proclamation. Again, it's in our Constitution, which is the Moorish American Constitution. Probably bring it out later, but it clearly states that you must make a proclamation within the government in which you live in the nations of the earth. So you have to proclaim to everyone else, letting them know that you are a Moorish American. You are no longer considered a Negro, black, and colored. And once you do that, then it becomes a real issue. And you have to, but now just doing it means nothing, or making that proclamation, which I tell people all the time, the paperwork is nothing. It is your actions after the paperwork is submitted. So you have to know who you are, and you have to go through it and have to study the law. Because again, as a Moorish American, you are not due in their courts. There's a thing called equity court. And of course, isn't that ironic? Equity. It means equality, which we never get. So this is a court that they will try to claim to you that there isn't one. But I can tell you, yes, there is an equity court. I have been there. I ain't one of these people that's going to sit up here and lie to you and tell you this. I have been in equity court in Illinois. Matter of fact, when you're in equity, the judge won't have on a robe, because the robe, they designate they're dealing with the dead. When you go into a regular court, a civil court, a district court, the judge is in the room within the courtroom with his robe on. That designate that he's dealing with the dead, like the Undertaker. So you have on black. But in equity court, you would be in the chambers and you would be dealing directly with the judge, only you and the judge, because that's equality. Everybody else is a corporation or dead, basically. All the entities are dead. So this is what becomes a real issue but again, you would know this if you haven't been there, and you have to do it. It becomes it's kind of a hard task now, but you have to study. So if you want to be free, freedom ain't free. That is what I can tell you. So you would have to make your proclamation. That's the first thing. And in that process, you would have to learn the law. You would have to learn not the Constitution, which everybody thinks, but you would want to learn that, because the Constitution, again, it clearly states that a Negro cannot be in it. Matter of fact, how you know that you have no rights, and the things that have been allowed they have done to George Floyd, to Philando Castile, and many, many other brothers, and they kill them, is that there is a case. The Stanford case, the Dred Scott v. Stanford case. In it, it clearly states that a Negro has no rights that any white man is bound to respect. And that case has never been overturned. So that in and of itself has to be a clear indication to you of what's going on and what's happening. So this is why the police 9 times out of 10 get off. And even if you double check, I'm always guaranteeing you that they win their appeal, because this is the only case they would have to put in. You don't have to respect them. But on that same token, the same court, the United States Supreme Court, that's a case in the United States Supreme Court, they have a case, the Amistad case. This was not just a movie. This is a real case. It states that when you are in your freedom, at any time, if anyone tries to take your freedom, you have the right to kill. Again, so this is why they called them Negroes, they call them Negroes now. Back then, they were true Africans, which means they had nationality. They had the right to kill those white men on the ship, and they were released and went home because they were trying to enslave them. They were not Negroes. And this is why they went through all of the things for us to become Negroes. What you have to understand, the so-called Freedom with the Emancipation Proclamation did not free Negroes. It made you property of the United States. That's why when anything happens to a Negro, basically it's a federal offense. We have to wait for the feds to come, because the Negroes don't have any rights in the state. You dig? So This is it. Again, the 14th, most of the legal people will sit here and tell you that, well, the 14th Amendment, there was no need to, when the 14th Amendment came, then that freed the no, it did not free you. What it did was enslave everyone they're calling what they're calling white people. It made everyone a corporation. Know this. There are all types of cases on this. Slaughterhouse cases. It's a gang of them that lets you know that now corporation has the right as people. But again, know these facts. You have to understand these facts. And the biggest fact that you would have to know is the 1787 treaty between the United States and the Kingdom of Morocco, which again, that is what made the United States a country and recognized by the rest of the world. After they proclaimed their nationality, the United States proclaimed their nationality basically to the world with the Declaration of Independence. But until Morocco recognized them in 1787, no one else recognized them. And that's the oldest standing treaty, matter of fact, probably in the world. And for the United States, and it has not been broken. It can't be broken because the United States would lose its power if it broke that treaty. Understand this, that in that treaty, they were only given a 50-year mandate to come and develop the United States. That's it, that's all. All the rest of the time they're here. They're here till the so-called black people, Negroes, get together and put their government in place. This is the original government is the Iroquois Confederate. So that Confederate flag that most people think was for the Europeans or that they try to use for white supremacy. No, matter of fact, again, almost any signs and symbols from anywhere they come from, they were originally Moors. And matter of fact, again, know that people will try to claim that, well, Morocco, that's the Kingdom of Morocco. We represent the Empire of Morocco, and the Empire, Moor, is not Moroccan. Moor is for Moab, the original land that speaks about in the Bible. So this is the true and original, not just starting in 9, because you can look it up again. The flag for Morocco in the 40s, 50s, and 30s was just red because it was not sovereign. But the Moorish Science Temple flew this flag in 1927 and from 1921. And it was the Moroccan Empire flag. That is the flag. Understand that. And people don't understand that. So they will try to trick you and tell you things. But again, don't believe me. Act like I'm the biggest liar in the world and start your own research.
Oh, I'm gonna have to put some water on the mic. I'm burning this up today. I'm spitting fire. So you started off saying that it's not the proclamation of it. You have to do the work. Work in it. Positive work, look, because in the joint, you have all the brothers coming out, ill, they, you know what I'm saying? They hitting you with it, and they seem like it's real, in a joint, but they don't, they talk the talk, but don't walk the walk. Hit us with the walk.
All righty. Again, now you are perfectly correct, and that's why I told you don't depend on any temple. Again, the book, the Circle 7, which is the Moorish Holy Quran, it clearly states on the first page, know thyself and Allah. You dig what I'm saying? So again, the temple is fine and it's supposed to teach you, but a real temple is a university, and it protects you while it teaches you to be able to make your proclamation. Once it's like Daniel's son. You dig what I'm saying? So once you're able to snatch the pebble from the hand, then it's time for you to move on and open up a temple for yourself. And each temple is an embassy. And that's just how everything was supposed to link. But that hasn't happened properly because people, again, everyone is trying to enslave. Matter of fact, again, the prophet stated in which one of the books though? But be careful, for your own brother will enslave you. So this is why you must know these things yourself. But the work looks like, again, a proclamation, declaration, which would be about 10 to 12 pages, or however long you want to make it. And it will state everything. Mine, it states that I am a public minister, so I can represent any so-called Negro, black person, or any derivative thereof in court. You dig? I'm a public minister, and this is true. Also, once you do it again, you have to know the law. And if you do it properly, you can go get your, I ain't even bringing that with me, but I think it's in my pocket. But you will get your passport, American national. Now, most people get to talk about it got 5 stars and all that. I know nothing about all of that. But what I will tell you is that it allows you to not be questioned. The matter of fact, if you've done it properly, you won't be questioned. You can't be, it's a do not detain, do not hold, do not question. You dig? And all of these things you have to know. Otherwise, they will play you. And if you don't know it, then you will give them information. And now they're claiming that you waived your status, because that's all it is. Nationality is status, or status means nationality. That's it. That's all. Because again, even the European hasn't even they haven't even proclaimed their nationality. So when the prophets started doing this, the Europeans used to be up in the front row around there because they wanted to become free. Because again, understand that everything is set up in a corporation. The state of Minnesota is a corporation. The state of Wisconsin is a corporation. The original states are republic. It would have been the Republic of Minnesota, the Republic of Wisconsin. And this is what it still is. They have abandoned those offices and we have become slaves. Matter of fact, that's all it is. Everyone has become slaves to their government, which the government is supposed to be your servant. So it has flipped and no one really understands it because again, they, what's the hardest saying go? Nothing, you can't get by nothing. Death and taxes are the only things that's guaranteed. No, just death. I'm here to promise you. You dig what I'm saying? You can give your money away if you want to, but you do not have to. Again, those are in the tax code. It clearly states in the tax code that it's a volunteer. And again, just based on these facts, this is why they use the Negro or the so-called Negro, and they lock us up all the time, or even the poor Europeans, again, because we don't really take time to see what the true issues are. We dislike so-called Europeans because we believe they have a benefit. And then they dislike the Negro because they're poor and they believe we have a benefit. So the rich keep us fighting with one another so they can be rich, basically. And not that we don't know what's going on. But after you do all of the research and work, you will see that when they stop you or whenever, when you go in jail, before you even get there, they have the paperwork. Matter of fact, for the older cats, they know they used to put your fingerprints on there. That document is, and they had 3 sets. It's a SF-24, SF-25, and the SF-25A, which is a bid bond, payment bond, and performance bond. These are bonds they put on you from day one. And these bonds are brought and put on the Dow Jones, on the what you call the stock market. Yeah, these are, and I promise you, all you got to do is go look it up. The SF stands for standard form, 24, 25, and on the side it'll have 5 things. And when you look at it, the older cats know that when they used to have the machine, use the ink around there and put your fingerprints on it. These are the bonds that they have, and they have each one of those sets. And those bonds are worth, we worth our weight in platinum. This is why they won't give you a job. Again, this is the whole setup when we think we know what's going on and we looking down on brothers or assuming that brothers aren't working. No, the poverty is created thing. It is not real because again, all we got to do is do the simple math. Once we do the simple math, it's 350 million people in America. All right, let's just take out, well, in fact, we're going to take out 100,000 are old, they can't work, so they don't pay taxes. Another 100,000 are young, so they don't pay taxes or do anything. So 150 million people work and pay taxes. And let's just say the average is $1,000. Am I mistaken? That would be like 150, that would be like $15 billion or 15 trillion. Either, that's 15 trillion. So how is it? And we know that anybody would be happy to pay an average of $1,000, but we know the average person is paying about 15,000 in taxes. So now you do the math. How is there such thing as poverty? You know what I'm saying? These are simple, these are simple things that we never question, because again, we have been taught and controlled by the public food system from the beginning. They put a whole system together. Nelson D. Rockefeller, I care not who controls the laws, let me control the money. So he put the education together, the education system, which was a training system for the people to help the rich get richer. That's it. That's all. We break our backs again. We have to think about the whole system, how America works. Santa Claus. Just think about this. I mean, once you really, really think about it, and truly and clearly, we don't understand how this affects us from day one. And then it gets your kids to not respect themselves or what's going on. You go to work all year to get these kids toys and everything, buy them everything they want, and then give credit to a jolly European. What sense does that make? And people are death on that. And then you're lying to your children. So when they become older, they don't respect you because you have lied to them their whole life. You dig? The Easter Bunny, all of these things are prime rate to lying to you, the little white lie. No, a lie is a lie. You dig? And they are creating it again. Now, the whole thing I hate when everybody talks about, what's the word? My truth. No, it's either the truth or it's not. There's no such thing as your truth, but this is the way, again, to prime us into accepting new things and to try to make everything acceptable. And before you know it, you don't know what's going on. So again, we have to get back to the basics and understanding who we are. That's it. That's all. We get into arguments and fights over religion and all of this silly stuff, colors. None of that matters in the end. If you are not free, what are you? You dig? If you ain't free, what are you? And freedom is the backbone of any, not even a democracy, it's a republic. That is what America is. Think about, again, they ain't created us, had us done pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, and to the republic,
which it stands.
Exactly. So it's not, when did it become a democracy? You see what I'm saying? These are things we never even question. We always just accept it as being a democracy. And they could have created a democracy if they want. That wasn't a new government. It was created as a republic. A republic, the form of government is in each person. You are your own government. And that is what the Moors come from. Like I said, come from the land of Moab. Then that was the original. That was the one man. So you can form a government, but you have to have consent. You were never even asked what your consent was. You was already just put in by your parents. We did not have any understanding of what was going on. We accept everything. And I never forget, remember my first job, I was 14 years old. I was somewhat of a mathematician. I'm counting my hours and my money. Man, I got the check. It was like $70 missing. I wasn't trying to hear none of that on everything. I'm like, where my money at? And you dig, I never forget, I asked my mother. And she's like, oh, baby, they do that to everybody. Hold on, lady. I love you to death. But first of all, that wasn't my question. You dig? I want to know, where is my money and who is fiking them and why they taking money from me? You dig? It's still mind-boggling to me from the day till this day, because again, I'm 14. I've been living with you my whole life. Now, if you took the 70, cool. I understand that. But how are these people taking my money? You know what I'm saying? We never even understand. These are simple mathematics that we never compute. Because again, if brother walk up and went in your pocket, took out $2, you ready to do something to him, you finna fight him to the death. around here. These people just take your money before you even get it around here, and we don't question it. It's crazy. So how do you even call yourself free? And again, same thing, property taxes. What king pays taxes on his kingdom? I done bought this house. Now you telling me I got to pay you to stay where I done bought? These are crazy things to me now that I really see things for what they are. And I know that most people won't even begin to try to understand, oh, what you gonna do? What we gonna do? We just gotta accept it. No, you don't have to accept it. That's what they want you to do. Understand. You don't have to do nothing. You ain't got to be nothing. All you got to do is study. That's it. But again, we were never taught. We were never educated. We were trained. So you have to break your training in order to start your education. And I think that's the main thing with your question to end after the long-windedness. But your question is, the answer is, in order to become a Moor, you have to start educating yourself. You have to break the training, because the training is so strong that you don't even realize how trained you are. And I say that for myself. When I started doing it, I'm questioning things because that's just what happens. You question because I've been taught all of this. And when I bring this to people, well, how you gonna do that? How you gonna do this? How you gonna do that? Start doing something first instead of questioning what's going on. You don't question the people when they just pull up on you. Like you said, they got some lights in a polyester uniform with a badge on, and they just pull you over. And anybody can do this. You dig what I'm saying? The doctor just put on a coat. Not even a doctor. We don't know they're a doctor. Put it on a stethoscope, and you just give them information. We have been trained to let what we consider authorities, what we have been taught is authority, and we don't even question. They get upset when you question them. Hold on, man. I'm spending my money, and you want to get upset with me because I'm questioning what's going on. And we don't question things. When you don't question things, you automatically become a slave. You're too scared to question. And that, to me, is the reason we have so much chaos with one another. We have no power anywhere else. But since I feel I'm powerless, you look just like me. So you powerless. So we gonna kill each other to the death. You dig what I'm saying? Until I start seeing myself as powerful, then I will see you as powerful, and then I will respect you. But as long as I consider you nothing or consider myself nothing, you are nothing. I'm not trying to kill you. I'm trying to kill me, because these are my feelings about myself. So that, again, to me, is the true essence of freedom and how you become free as a Moorish American. So
appreciate, man. You dropped some man. I'm telling you, I'm gonna have to rerun this several times. You know what I'm saying? I have to break this down bit by bit. You know what I'm saying? No doubt. When did you decide you want to become a Moor? When did that happen? Did it happen in a joint at some time, or did you hear whispers of it prior to going in? When did you come into it, and when did you become a discipline of it?
Great question, because I'm gonna keep it 100 now. When I first got in, like I said, for those who don't know, I did 22 years for a crime I didn't commit. So I think that was a major issue, because had it been something I did, I'd have just accepted the time and it would have went on with no problem. But I couldn't accept it. I wasn't accepting nothing. Chicago, I wasn't getting them country boys nothing. So I had to try to find out, how did this happen? That was the first thing. So I started, rest in peace, Brother Spence. What was Spencer's last name? I can't remember, but he was a Detroit cat, though. He was a real smooth cat, though. He always, I had a little paper. I'm doing all right when I got locked up. And he used to always tell me, like, Phil, he's like, it's good to be able to have money to hire lawyers and everything. He was like, but you need to learn this stuff yourself. Like, yeah, all that good, man. So I'm trying to get up out of here. So at this point, I've been convicted, and I'm thinking I'm finna go home. I'm thinking every time they call my name, I'm ready to go around here, not knowing that I'm thinking they know where we made a mistake. Nah, they didn't care. It wasn't about me, and that was the one thing that I learned. All that criminal stuff, it's about getting paid. It doesn't matter what nobody did, and that's another thing we need to psychologically start understanding. all of those are what I just told you. It's about bonds. It's not about no right or wrong or no ethics. And if you actually believe that, you're a damn fool. I'm just going to keep it 100. Do the research. But so in that process, I started learning the law. My mother got me the Blackstone paralegal. As a matter of fact, it was in Texas at the time, so it was a paralegal study, and it was through a law school. I started doing that. I started understanding. Then I came across this book called The Silver Bullet, and it was about the UCCs. So when I did that, I'm starting to learn the law, and I'm starting to understand that they really did me in around here. So I'm upset. Everybody think I'm the angry man around there. You have no idea around there. So anyway, as I'm studying this, and I went to the temple now, you did what I'm saying. I happened to ran with cats that was different from most of the cats that went to the temple. But so I went down there the first time, and it wasn't for me. I'm gonna keep it 100. And then I was so Christianized that I felt like I was cheating on the Bible by going there. So as time went on, I could see how Christianity had got me discombobulated. I'm gonna keep it 100. So I'm starting to see things clearer. But sometime later, when I went to Moose Lake, so this is after I've been locked up almost like 13 years. So I'm in Moose Lake. My brother, Sean Pattersonio. So we walk in the yard, and I'm telling him about the sovereignty things and things like this, because this is how I came about the law. Like I said, after I read the Silver Bulletin, so I'm learning the UCC, and I'm telling him about these things. Then he's like, "Oh, you talking about not paying attention stuff?" It's like, that's what the prophet was talking about. Like, the prophet, who is this prophet you speak of? He's like, Noble Jew Ali. I'm like, what? Then I'm telling him about some other things about freedom and it. Like, oh man, that's okay. That's what the prophet meant. Hey man, who is this prophet you keep on talking about, brother? Then he like, man, what's it called? Matter of fact, let me back up. When I got there, I was looking for him, brother, but the brother B4, Bridgeport, rest in peace. What was B4 last name? But everybody would know him as B4. But when I got there, he like, Vale, they say Face, that's what we call Pattersonio Face. He was like, he down in the temple, he be tearing it up. Like, he like, yeah. And for those brothers who know Face before he got into the temple, it was mind blowing. He like, what? He like, yeah, brother, he be down there delivering messages. Like, I'm gonna go down there. So I never made it down there, but we walked the yard all the time, and he kept telling me all of this stuff. And the brother Austinio, what's the brother? Everybody call him Mesh though. Brother Austinio, me and him go down at the same time, but Austinio jumped right in. He getting everything, but I'm leery of it. I'm not gonna lie. I done been faked out as a Christian around here. The Muslims, I'm feeling what they saying, but I don't fully understand. So I'm not trying to become an Orthodox Muslim. And I don't need to leave one slave master for the next. So I'm always studying whatever I'm looking to become. So I'm studying fully, but they down there delivering great messages. And Brother Pleasant Bay, I spoke to him on the phone. He has a book that I call the Moorish Bible called Exhuman of a Nation. Has everything in there, everything. So, and I ain't gonna lie, again, me personally, I'm somewhat selfish. All I wanted to do was get home. You did what I'm saying. I was trying to get up out of there. So if the temple was going to help get me up out of here, Islam, Moors, you did what I'm saying. So anyway, I still didn't join though, because I wasn't just but I'm still trying to use the principle. So once I really, really started going to Sunday school, and the brothers that's delivering the messages, they giving prolific messages. But I understand these messages even more deeply than they're giving them, because I know and understand the law. So I'm like, whoa, this is truly the way out. So again, I'm not trying to be in no leadership role. So I'm just in the temple, and I'm giving my say so about things, and we're being, you know what I'm saying, everything's moving. Now I get down on Fairboat. These brothers down there are delivering things a total different way, which in my opinion, wasn't right. They misleading the brothers. But look, that ain't my business. So I'm trying to get away. The brother I was gonna bring, my brother Ronell, he could see the look in my face, and he must have knew it. And he told me, he's like, brother, please don't give up on us. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna keep it 100. I was really at that point just concerned with me and trying to get my freedom. I wasn't trying to lead no temple or anything. But the brother, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, he stated that, and 2-3 days later, I moved in the cell with him, because he was like, God, Allah sent me somebody who's like, I needed a teacher. You deal what I'm saying? I'm like, brother, I ain't that. He like, no, you is. You just don't know it. So he eating things up now. And I'm understanding, like I said, totally now that everything is moving. So when I really, really understood, he's seen and understood that they was misusing the temple, and he basically ran them out the temple, and he took over, but he wasn't really prepared or ready to be the Grand Sheikh. So he asked me to take the spot, and that's when I really, really got into Moorish science, really, and seeing what was going on and the things and the benefits for brothers. You know what I'm saying? So that would be it. It was probably in like 16, 17 when I really, really got into it, like I said. And at that point, because the brother Love Neal was already, he basically had been Christian raised, so he was real deaf on religion. But as I was learning everything, like I said, I'm just trying to get freedom. But then the one thing I knew and understood from Pleasant Bay in his book, without spirituality, none of that would work on everything. So I started working on my spirituality. And when I worked on my spirituality, it's like everything just opened up so wide and just so clear that it was almost, it's unbelievable. I ain't gonna even lie. Everything was like a prophecy. I could see everything happening before it happened. I could see people thinking the things that's finna come out their mouth, everything they gonna try to do, it was just crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? So I would have to say at that point, that's when I really started taking the temple real serious.
How long was you was Grand Sheikh at Faribault?
Yeah, I was Grand Sheikh at Faribault.
You was in Stillwater. When was you in Stillwater?
I was in Stillwater the first 11 years. So I was in there for 11. I didn't even, like I told you, I just went to the temple maybe once or twice when I was in Stillwater. When I got to Moose Lake is where I really started going to the temple, but I still never jumped in. I just was going and getting the research. Like I said, now, as an older gentleman, now I ain't jumping into nothing. Everything is a calculated step. Yes, so I shouldn't say that. I went to, matter of fact, I went to Lionel first, and the brothers, you know what I'm saying? So the brothers down there, that's where I started coming into the leadership position. I apologize. It wasn't even, I was the Grand Sheikh there at Lionel for about 2 years before I even went to Faribault.
What joint did you walk out of? Faribault?
Faribault. It was
what
Faribault.
Year? When was that?
20. Matter of fact, 20. Yep. April of 20.
So I must have met you down in Faribault. I thought I met you in Stillwater, but it must have been Faribault because I was in Faribault during that time. That stretcher was down there, and I was going to the temple. I didn't go. I went to maybe Sunday school or the Moorish science maybe once or twice. I went up in there. But besides that, I just so now that you're out and you've done a lot with your status, and what things have you accomplished with your status that most people wouldn't believe? Because a lot of times, on YouTube videos, they show people not, court appearances and things like that. So, I mean, how real is that? I mean, come on, break it down to me and let me know what's going on.
All right, Islam. No, as you stated now, as I told you before, I got a passport. They tell you can't get a passport when you're on parole. I'm on parole and I still got I don't even know how many years, but I have a passport. So I've showed you that I got a passport card. This is something nobody wanted to even try to even understand or state that you couldn't do it. But again, they told me that I couldn't do it. So I went through it. And before I even got it, my PO did call me and like, well, you can't go out. You got a pass. They're sending you a passport. Well, he said, I understand you getting a passport. Yes, I'm just trying to get a what he say? Sometime I'm like, I ain't even trying to hear you, because if you could stop it, I'm sure you would have. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, I knew my status was the real deal. You did what I'm saying? So in the process now, had I knew what I know now, I wouldn't have never even reported to the PO. You did what I'm saying? Because they really didn't have any authority. I give them authority by going back. You did what I'm saying? But I had no experience. So this is what I had to do until I can get things together. Now, again, I got everything. Actually, there's nothing I don't, like I told you. Now, I'm driving through Chicago. I done drove from Atlanta to Chicago, basically. I was on my way back up here, and nobody pulled me over. I got my Moorish plates on there. Chicago, of course, some upset European officer. He behind me for about 3-4 miles. He finally pulled me over, and he, again, trying to press me for my status, basically, trying to get me to give it away. And that's the thing. Now, had I not been training myself, basically, all of those years and educating myself on what's going on, when he pulled me over, I'm like, I give him my Moorish ID. At that time, I didn't have my passport, so I give him my Moorish ID, which was made by me. You did. I give it to him. He was like, well, the state of Illinois don't recognize. So the state of Illinois don't recognize more. No, the state of Illinois, he was like, well, your license plate. I was like, well, that's more. The state of Illinois don't recognize. Okay, so I see where this is going. So now he do something else. And I was like, okay, so what you're trying to tell me is the state of Illinois doesn't recognize the Constitution, right? The state of Illinois does not recognize the treaty with Morocco, which makes the state of Illinois and the United States. The state of Illinois don't recognize the Geneva Convention. So is this what you telling me? He put his head down. So he's still, and I'm like, this ain't even an arrestable offense. Why are you trying to arrest me? So anyway, he arrested me, but all the while I'm telling him to call the supervisor, because if the white shirt come, all he got to do, run the background, run the check, and I'm out of there. But they trying to, again, if you don't know your power or what's going on, because all he wanted was my name, basically. And my name, if I give it to him, he's going to put it in all caps into a corporation and claim that I'm in equity. Equity does not aid a volunteer. That's a maximum of equity. And so I can't be equal because I'm volunteering. And I'm volunteering my name as a corporate name. So we go, he take me in. Matter of fact, as we going in, I'm like, man, let me see a watch commander. Well, they're busy now. I keep on playing with me. And then I see one of them watering the grass when we pull up. When they let down the window, I'm calling him over there, but he wouldn't. He looked and put his head down because he already knew and understood the situation. And as soon as I come in, it was a brother with some dreads. He like, man. So they already knew what was going on before I got there. It didn't dawn on to me till later. He's like, man, this brother Moore, y'all know he a Moore. He just traveling through. Why is y'all playing games with him? I'm like, whoa, who is this brother? How he know all of this? But he worked at the jail, but he worked back as a turnkey. So he was taking fingerprints and stuff. So anyway, I'm up there. He studied like, woo. He like, well, what's your name? Man, I gave you my ID. Why are you playing? Please stop playing with me. It's like, well, I don't know how this goes. Is it Oates Lavelle Oates? Or, man, I have nothing to say to you. I'm not participating in this in no way, shape, or form. So now he's trying to get all aggressive. Man, first of all, you do not scare me, brother. So he kept on. We going back and forth. Now, this is for about, well, we're going to tow your car. Man, look, they make cars every day. That car means nothing to me. So anyway, again now, which I didn't think about till later, they never even searched the car. They never searched the car. I had a young lady with me. She came and got everything out the car. They didn't search nothing because they knew they didn't have the authority to. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, he get on the computer for a while and he finally pull up. He was like, you haven't been arrested in 25 years in the state of Illinois. And then, whatever, man. Then he's like, so what's your name? Now you really playing with me. You just told me you looked me up on the computer, but you don't know my name. So again, now that was a signal again. Had I not been versed and studied, then now I know that he's on the T trying to get an SF 24, 25, 25A. He's trying to get the bond. So had I just verbally stated my name, that would have went by his consent. So he would have put that in, but I'm not saying nothing. So finally he like, well, we're going to get your name when we fingerprint you anyway. Fingerprint who? I promise you, you're not finna fingerprint me under no circumstances. And he put his head down. See, again, that would have been consent. Basically, had I let him fingerprint me or give him my name before we went. So as we going back there, I see the brother that I told you with the dreads. He kept it 100 with me. He like, look, bro. He was like, I heard what you was telling them. He was like, when you see the judge gonna free you. He was like, unfortunately, this is Illinois, and all these brothers be running around here faking, so they don't really know who's who and all that. But that's bluff too. I ain't trying to hear it. So I'm like, nah, you ain't fingerprint. Like, well, you gonna see the judge tomorrow anyway. So anyway, I'm back there for a while. After about 3-4 hours, he come me like, look, man, it's a misdemeanor anyway. It's not, matter of fact, he like, it's a petty misdemeanor. He was like, if you just give me your fingerprints, he was like, ain't nothing gonna be. He was like, you just go to court. He was like, they gonna dismiss it. I'm like, bet I had somebody waiting on me anyway. I was like, bet, let me go on. I gave them the fingerprints, and they give me like 6 charges. Failure to have a license plate. It was like 6 of them. So I see for the court date now. I come back and I tell the PO, you did what I'm saying. He like, just keep me posted. All right, cool. So like I said, now I'm learning how powerful I really am around here. You dig on everything. This is automatic. I'm supposed to be out of this. So anyway, court date comes up. I still don't know what's going on, but I sent them my paperwork letting them know. Matter of fact, you send your paperwork ahead so it precedes you so they know who you are. You dig? So this is already done. So on the day of the court date, matter of fact, Brother Tanner Bay, I was staying with him. Matter of fact, he came pick me up at the bus station, so I stayed with that brother in the morning. He had court on Zoom, though. So by the time he took me down there, we was a little late. I was about 5-10 minutes late. So I get to the Daily building, and dude, like, well, they got a warrant for you because you didn't show up for court. Man, stop playing. Why y'all play so much, man? Look, ain't no warrant for me, and if it is, you need to go rescind it, because how do you put a warrant out for me and it was I ain't even been late around here and I was in the court? He was like, well, the court is what'd he tell me? They have he tell me court was what did he tell me? Anyway, he's like, it was on Zoom. I was like, so how would I have known that if didn't nobody tell me that? It was like, well, anyway, you got court today at 2:00. So he hit me, give me the thing. Needless to say, I kept my phone on Zoom till 2:00. About 1:40, a European lady come on in the dark. She like, Mr. Oates. Like, yeah, I'm such and such. I forgot what she said her name is. I'm like, okay. She was like, I'm Judge Woo Woo Woo. All right. Then she said something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but again, I recognized she was trying to steal my status. I'm like, hold on. Did you get my documents? Why, no, I didn't. What were they? I named them off. Notice of status, my proclamation declaration, my name change, and abatement or show cause. So it was like 4 or 5 documents. She was like, well, I've never even heard of any of those documents. Well, that's not my problem, Judge. I sent them. Did you get them? Well, no, we didn't. Oh, you didn't? Okay. Bam! I got all 4 of the green cards, the 5 of the certified green cards. So these are witnesses that the documents were served on. See, you do? Oh, well, hold on, sir. She went back, come back about 3 minutes later. Don't worry, everything's dismissed. Now, like I told you now, she was there, then she brought the prosecutor in and the clerk of court. So again, I'm not recognizing because I've never been in this situation before. So after later on, after reflecting, I'm like, oh, that was equity court. As I told you, she didn't have on her robe and she was in her chambers and it was just me and her. You know what I'm saying? And she didn't bring them in until I told her what was happening. Basically, I told her what to do and she brought them in and then she dismissed everything. I was like, whoa, okay, that was equity. And I didn't even realize it till later on everything. I was like, that's crazy then. But the crazy thing is you have to understand there are two records, public record and a private record. So she did that, then I went down there the next day to get the dispositions and they said no suit. And I ain't never been through it again. I'm slower than molasses in the wintertime. Like, no suit, man, they always tell her they play too much. So she said she was going to dismiss it, was no suit. I was like, hold on, let me slow down with my ignorant butt and even find out what no suit means. Look up no suit. No suit mean basically that your status doesn't allow them to charge you. So I was like, whoa, why? But I got those. Now I'm finna tell you, here go the game though. Now I got my daughter address in Atlanta. They send a postcard down there about a month and a half later stating that I didn't have court and that everything was dropped due to COVID. But if I come through Illinois again, then I need to respect the laws. So that's the public and private. And everything under the state of whoever is public. So you have to go under the republic for it to be private. So they can put in their records what they want. It doesn't matter because they can't give anyone a blueprint to freedom. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't say they can't, but they won't. You dig what I'm saying? And this is how I see things. Like I said, I know I'm giving away too much game around here, but I ain't tripping because, again, this is how I see Malcolm and Martin getting killed. You dig? When they spoke of the things, they spoke of it as black nationalism. Now, had they spoke of it as Moorish nationalism, there was nothing they could do. But as a Negro, again, we already said under the Dred Scott case, a Negro has no rights that any white man is bound to respect, so they can kill them.
I'm gonna stop right there.
Okay.
We gonna come right back. I know y'all gonna be in the comments for this brother. He's hitting y'all with left and rights. You know what I'm saying? The rope-a-dopes. And we're gonna sit down and have a little conversation. Give you a break for a minute. We're gonna come right back. Stay tuned. Episode 47.
I got something to say.
Welcome back. SAF Mo, the prison lawyer. This is IGSTS. The grill pit is the studio. I got my man Vale. And like I said, I mean, you know, I usually can kick science, but this man, he got me beat. You know, he killing the game. You know, I should have said at his cell door. I would have came out a lot smarter. I got some questions though. You know, because I had the Circle 7. You know what I'm saying? They brought it to me. I read it. I was deep Noble Drew Ali. I read it. It was beautiful. A lot of stuff that I couldn't get in, but I didn't have individuals breaking it down to me as baby food, and I was trying to break it down myself.
Islam.
My deal is what I was told is when we first are born and we get those Social Security numbers, it is our parents who bring us into this system, this corporation. Can you break that down for me, brother?
Well, that is correct, but again, because people want to try to blame your parents, but nobody knows, you know what I'm saying? They figure they're doing good for you, but they're not knowing that they are basically enslaving you. Not just Social Security, but your birth certificate. Matter of fact, your birth certificate is a trust. And that trust is what they use to get the money out of you, as I spoke about before, as they lock people up. They go into your trust. It's all a dog and pony show. It's a great one with the courtroom because, again, as I stated, when you're convicted, they don't need your consent. So they convicted you because they have already set up a process. You are part of a corporation. You're part of the state of Minnesota is a corporation. your license, your ID, all of this demonstrates that. So all they have to do is go into your trust once you're convicted. Like I told you, the bond end up being like for trillions of dollars. Matter of fact, I seen one brother, his looked on there because you used to could look him up on Fidelity. I don't know if you still can. Don't start me the line, but you used to could look it up on Fidelity on the back of your Social Security card, and it will tell you how much money they have on you in bonds. But the most brothers that spend 10 years or better have at least $2 billion worth of bonds on them, because now they call it warehousing. It isn't about incarceration, or what's the word they always used to use, rehabilitation. And we know this,
yes,
because all they're doing is setting up a program. Basically, if you follow it, you are going to be in the matrix greatly, or you are going to submit to what's going on. That's it. Otherwise, anything else, they not trying to have. You know what I'm saying? This is why I don't have, well, I did all their certificates, but I was able enough without being commercialized or being neutralized enough where I would still be me. Brothers always, and that's why we see brothers repeatedly coming back, because they know this already. Again, as I talk about the public food system, school system, which is, they know our whole attitude and makeup emotionally, mentally, psychologically, before we even know who we are. That's what those report cards were for. Mm-hmm. When they stop the A's, B's, and C's, does he play well with others? Does he do this? They got all of that. They put it in the computer, and they spit out everything about you and who you are. And you don't even know it, but they know it. You know what I'm saying? This is all part of their records. Why you think every time your counselor or whoever is talking to you, they always looking in the papers, because these papers tell them who you are and what's going on. So when you don't fit that whole mold, then they really perplexed by the situation. So that's how it goes. As far as, matter of fact, what was the full question again? I apologize, because I'll get to going on.
Well, we was just what I wanted to key on. I was asking you just about the Social Security number. Okay. But in that being, at birth, us being connected to this corporation. But the conversation that you had that really resonated with me, well, first and foremost, is when what happened to me when I got in there. I started to learn the law, and as I started learning the law, I didn't learn it under the understanding of sovereignty. That came later, of them bringing the sovereignty conversation to me. But I learned it just to understand what these people have done to me. Right? I wanted to figure out how was they able to bamboozle me. You know what I'm saying? Hook me up with this charge. You know what I'm saying? And then take this conversation that they were trying to make me out of something I was not. But what I was doing, it was something that was being done on a regular basis. So what I mean is, like, I looked at, so I got hooked up with a prostitution charge. Okay. And my deal was like, you can look into the employment sector itself, and it's nothing but pimps and hoes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, individuals working for individuals, and they're giving you, you know what I'm saying? So I was like in my mind, like, what makes something right and what makes something wrong? Yeah. And it comes back to the whole philosophical understanding of it. There's nothing. What is a crime? They tell you what a crime is, because something that was illegal years ago is now legal. We can look at weed and talk about that all day long. No doubt. They was giving people life in prison for weed. No now they're saying it's okay. No doubt. So what really resonated with me, and it's gonna resonate with you too, is those nights they wake you up at midnight and tell you to stand at your cell and do emergency count. You have to stand at the cell, and they come up there and they say, give us your name and tell us your OID. And right in front of your cell is your name and your OID. I'm like, so I would they would come to my cell and get hot, because I was like, why do I have to tell you my name if it's right in front of them? That's my OID. So it goes back to them trying to you know what I'm saying? It's this programming. You know what I'm saying? It's programming.
And consent. Though.
And consent.
Now you're consenting. Like I told you, equity does not aid a volunteer. All of these are voluntarily acts.
Yes,
you know
sir.
What I'm saying? Or under duress, but they consider them voluntary. Yeah. So like I said, like the bonds, most people don't know that, but most of the bonds only last 30 years. So after 30 years, they are supposed to be releasing. Well, we know this because in Minnesota, life was 30 years. So at the expiration of those bonds, they would let them brothers out. But now they got the brothers psychologically. My brother Hardiman Bay, love him to death. When he started letting me see his paperwork, and I'm telling him, I'm like, look, you ain't even supposed to be here. You have done all of the time because you are under the old laws. They cannot put you under the new laws. They are not, what's the word I'm looking for? Dang, I ain't did the legal work so long. I forgot what I should say. I haven't done their legal work in so long because I stopped even reading statutes and policies because, as you said, those are their laws. And for every statute or policy they have that tells you you can't do something,
they say you can.
Exactly.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up because I had a federal case that I was sitting on, and I was in Fairport at the time, and this federal lawyer came and seen me, and I was just like you. Every time they called my name for legal mail, I thought I was going home. Right. So when they came to charge me my federal case, it was a brother, and because I was locked up in state prison, what they did was they gave me a target letter because they hadn't charged me there, but that target letter gives you ability to get a public defender or a federal public defender. So they gave me a target letter. So this brother come in and he come talk to me. And I was like, whatever this federal case is, I want to get rid of it because I'm about to beat this state case. This motherfucker looked at me. I started to cuss. I want to cuss. He looked at me. He was like, how you going to beat it? I said, well, I'm starting to explain the law to him. You know what I'm saying? And I said, it's the probative got to outweigh the, you know that, you know what I'm saying? I done read that. So I'm hitting with the science. He's like, well, who makes that decision? And then when he hit me with it, I'm thinking in my mind, it's me making the decision. Of course, it's going to be in my favor, but the judge is making the decision. And of course, like you say, every law they write, every policy they have this duality where they can go right or left on it. And depending on 9 times out of 10, the way they go, it's not going to be favorable to you because it's their game.
Exactly.
You know,
that's what I try to explain to the brothers. Why would I be in a court where I know I can't win? They already let you know. Matter of fact, right in the statute book, it tells you these rules or statutes may be changed at any time. Right. So what that on that, I believe them. Right. You dig what I'm saying? So there is no purpose for me in a district court or in a corporate court, in a civil court, because all of it's civil. It states right there. Civil Rule 1. All cases are civil. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So there's no such thing as a criminal. And then we know in civil, they make all of the decisions. Mm-hmm. They faking us out. And again, we don't understand. We keep on believing that these people are going to do right or somebody else.
That's why I was going to go to that point. Like somehow they're going to come back and, you know, you see all these series on TV where they come running in with the forensics and save your ass. And we had, I don't know if you remember Southside, but Southside, a little Somalian brother I used to kick it with. We used to always say, we know Superman gonna come save you. Because that's what they got you under this, and it goes right back to Santa Claus and all this other stuff. We get baited into all this, these unreasonable scenarios. You know, in my mind, I thought that you aren't the first brother that said it. I'm not the first brother that somehow they was gonna realize they made a mistake. They was gonna come knock at the door and tell me I was free. On everything.
Man, like I told you, as I reflected on it, I was really in a state of shock for about the first year and a half. Mm-hmm. I just remember waking up one day like, damn, I'm up in here. But that whole thing for the first year, I was going through the process and I didn't realize until later. I was like, man, I was in a state of shock. Even the trial, you know what I'm saying? I'm in a trial on a 1st-degree murder trial. And I'm like, I know nobody go to jail for something they ain't do. These people know it was a video, everything come missing. So I'm just knowing. But as we're going, I see it and there's nothing I can do. I can't articulate it.
Slow motion,
exactly. I'm like, man, I don't even know what to do. I couldn't even articulate it. I have never felt so helpless in my life.
But it go right back to you were saying, like the judges wearing the black robes. The only reason they're wearing black robes are the same way a mortician will wear, and they consider that a civil death.
If you look at civilly mortus, the meaning you civilly dead.
That's what they. If you look, because I got I was in there studying too. Got blacks reading all, understanding and breaking it down. And the funny thing about it is because I get an assault in Faribault for assaulting staff.
I was right there. I remember that. Oh, I was right there. I couldn't believe it either. Yeah.
So there's testimony. Like I said, I get a assault on a staff. They send me up to Oak Park Heights, ground zero. Right. I'm sitting at ground zero, and I do 8 months stretched in administrative seg in Oak Park Heights. Come on, AMAX. 8 months straight. These motherfuckers got enough nerve to try to send me to court. They want to try me because I'm getting out. I only got like about a year left on my sentence. I do 8 months there, and now I'm about to go home. Right. They charge me, so I'm on a yard in Oak Park Heights, and one of the brothers gave me. He was breaking down sovereignty and all this stuff. I come to the conversation not specifically a Moorish American conversation, but a sovereignty conversation. Right. And he was like, so what I did is because I was cold with the law, I wrote up I looked in the Black's Law Library. He's like, don't come in as a regular appearance, come in a special appearance. You know what I'm saying? I'm not coming in here for under your jurisdiction. I'm coming here to
find out what the jurisdiction, where your authority lies.
Exactly.
What is my status under your authority?
So peep gang. I go down to Rice County to go to trial, and the judge never asked me, never arraigned me, or never anything like that. Never try to connect me to the charge. They do something real slick, and I lawyer up real quick because I get scared because I submit the motion to the judge. The judge never covers the motion of the special appearance or anything like that. So that goes through that, doesn't arraign me or anything like that. I lawyer up real fast with that, so I never played it totally out to see what that would have been. But that just me submitting that eventually allows me to get out of my charge. But just that little bit of knowledge, and me standing on it helped me do that.
Yeah, helped you stay free. Or
yes,
get home when you were supposed to.
Yeah. Well, I was able to. They ended up dismissing the charges because I requested some discovery information, and I had already started. See, Miss Public Defender I was doing nothing.
Right. So, the public pretender ain't gonna do nothing. That's what they is. That's their job. Again, that's the original Three Friends and a Stranger.
Exactly.
You're a lawyer. Matter of fact, the fact that you have a lawyer states that you are incompetent to conduct your business.
Yes.
So no,
definitely. So why would you need a lawyer? Why do you need somebody to speak for you? And every time you try to say something, he tell you to be quiet.
Right, exactly. You're gonna snitch on me. I work for these people.
What about this right here? Do you willingly waive all your rights?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
No, and that's what I tell you. This is the indication that everything is well, you didn't lose. You did what I'm saying. The first thing the lawyer says when he get up, we waive jurisdiction, Your Honor. Every time, everybody, and then we never even think about that.
Right, how strong that is.
And we assume that it's venue, but it's not. It's persona and subject matter and venue. So we're waiving everything, and that's automatically we falling at the mercy of the court, and we don't even know this.
So persona is that the personhood of an individual?
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
So all those,
that's your status.
All that stuff we give over to the court. We think that we're waiving our rights, but we're giving up everything, jurisdiction, and we basically giving them jurisdiction over our bodies.
Right, because they don't have it. Like you have to understand. Like I tell you, the state of Minnesota is a piece of paper. That's it. That's all. That's why nobody else is in there. Because if it's the state, if it's the republic, there has to be somebody who is personally charging you. The state cannot charge a natural. Well, I shouldn't say a natural, but a man. Mm-hmm. The state cannot charge you because they don't have the status. Like I told you, that's why we talk about equity court. It has to be on equal standing, man to man. Now I can take you in there and charge you, but the state can't take you in there and charge you. They got different rules. Equity rules apply differently than the rules, statutes, rules, and regulations that they apply to us.
That all makes sense when you think about biblical things, how the Bible was written out, and how you initially started off saying that there was no blacks and whites, it was nations. You know what I'm saying? Even lineage, it was the son of, you know what I'm saying? And that's how we went down. But the other thing that I sort of, so when you hit truth, because I was just talking to brother Jafar, and we just talking about truth, and I was like, when I came out of the joint, I picked the passage in the Quran, and I read that passage all day just to ground me. I've been reading it since I came out of the joint to ground me, because truth, like I don't need to read the whole Quran. This passage right here, every time I read it, it gives me something, because it's truth. Right. So when you was talking about the United States and the colonies, as they came over as charters. They came over as companies. That was an English company that came over. They never lied to us. They never changed. It was a contractual obligation for these individuals to come over here to claim this land. So it make everything's made. And when you start breaking it down, everything starts making sense. You know what I'm saying? And I love the story about what you say, that where the hidden power is within them. They'll never search within them to find the power, man. And so the circle 7, what is it? Where is the circle 7? Could you explain that to me?
The circle 7, well, that's affectionately what we nickname it, is the circle 7, but it's the Moorish Holy Quran. So what it is the book of spirituality, and it covers everything. It's only 60 pages, but it's the most powerful 60 pages you have ever read, because it starts and it's put together divinely by Allah using Noble Drew Ali. And most people want to, again, now some people will try to claim that the Aquarian Gospel, it is same or similar now, because this is the missing book out of the so-called Bible. This is Jesus. These are the words of Jesus now. We don't have to worry about Paul said, Jesus said, and all this he said, she said. These are the words that came from Yehoshua himself. So the first chapter, which is the most misunderstood, and nobody ever comes out of it because they don't take the time to they don't take the time to understand it. It states, first words, time never was when man was not. You dig? If there comes a time.
That was cool. I read that.
If there comes a time when a man's life will begin, there comes a time when it will end. Mm-hmm. And just think about that.
Yeah.
Now, in this whole situation, in this system, we have been made to be afraid of the only thing we know gonna happen. The only thing in the world I can guarantee you is that you will die. Yeah. But they have scared us so much in the process of even slavery. That was the whole thing. You scared to die. I'm dying. It don't matter. Ain't nothing I can do to stop that. Yeah. But this is what we have let the system create, and just take everybody out, basically, without even doing anything, making you afraid. Again.
Turn you into a slave.
Yeah, exactly. You dig? Then it goes on to say, talks about, what is it? Says, hear ye, seraphim, cherubim, crawly thing, animal, beast, everything. It says, again, that man has dominion over all of these things. But it never states that man has dominion over man. You know what I'm saying? Again, these are simple things that we never even pay attention to. That's why I said spirituality is so big. We get caught up in religion so much, and we have to understand what religion is nothing but customs and rituals to make you become closer to whoever your higher power is. But spirituality is what you have to do. Says, hear ye, seraphim, cherubim, crawly thing, animal, beast, everything. It says, again, that man has dominion over all of these things. But it never states that man has dominion over man. You know what I'm saying? Again, these are simple things that we never even pay attention to. That's why I said spirituality is so big. We get caught up in religion so much, and we have to understand what religion is nothing but customs and rituals to make you become closer to whoever your higher power is. But spirituality is what you have to do to recognize yourself as a power, or in relation with that power, with that greater power, because that's all you're doing is getting in touch with that. And that is what helps you or makes you move forward or do the things that you do. And when you do that, it becomes difficult to harm another man, to harm anybody. You know what I'm saying? Because now you see yourself in that person. When I don't see myself in somebody else,
it's easy for me
to do anything. To
devalue that individual.
Exactly. So you need to see somebody as your mother. You need to see them as your child.
Yes.
And we know this, again, this is how the police brutality happens. You know what I'm saying? They don't see these brothers as their equals. They don't see them as their child. They don't see them as their nephew, their son. So again, and we have to understand the spirit of the police. The police were created to catch the people that were enslaved, that ran away, who wanted to be free again. Right. This was their purpose. Yeah. You cannot change that purpose. That whole system, to me, again, has to be torn down and has to be restarted. Because again, after being in the joint so long, at first, before I went, I did not understand. So when people would say, I think they shouldn't even have a penitentiary. And honestly, that's where I come from. I'm going to keep it 100. After being there and see the degradation and the hurt and the torture, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, that it does to people, what is the purpose? There is no purpose but money. Honestly, there is no purpose because there is no rehabilitation. And I always talk about this because it was just so deep to me. And this was when I started working on my spirituality. The cat over there in what was they? I think it was Denmark. He went up in the nursery school, killed like 28 kids, 21 kids or something. And I never forget it. The judge gave him 21 years. And the people in America was just so, he should murder him, they should kill him, he should be given life. And there was somebody they interviewed, and they was like, well, what? And then she would, I think it was the judge or somebody, she was like, we can't blame him. Thank you, brother, thank you. She was like, we can't blame him. We have to blame ourselves. You did with him. She was like, this society created that thing. You did what I'm saying. So how do we blame? And that's the whole thing. These things that brothers do, it was created. They didn't think of this. You know what I'm saying? Like brother used to talk about. Didn't no murderers get off that boat. Didn't no killers get off that boat. Didn't no gangbangers get off that boat. You did what I'm saying? This is something this system created. So the system has to deal with the system, but it's much easier to deal with the people.
And that's what I find out these institutions do. They find a way to blame you, not the institution. And that's the whole purpose. That's the old purpose of it, right? To point the finger at you. What did you do wrong? Exactly. How did you fix yourself? And that's what the conversations or the terminology they use is it's purposeful, right? Programming, corrections. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? They don't even hide the fact. Institutions. Right. They don't even hide the fact that they about to do the wham bam.
And everything is institution. That's what I'm telling them. So even if you're trying to, or mad and upset at a portion of the institution, there's like 9 of them, and all of them go into one another together. They all coincide. You can't break away from one and think you're gonna get away from not get away from the other one. So you have to break away from the whole system in order to see it fully what it is. Again, we have been created so selfish that we allow other things to happen to us or other people for the little benefits that we assume we're getting. We know this from Hollywood or any of the superstar things. You dig what I'm saying? We know in Hollywood, they getting bent over the couch. You ain't finna make no money unless you submit to the situation. Right. You dig with them. Sports, same thing. Yep. It's all, again, it's just like it's Rome all over, but nobody wants to recognize what's going on.
Yeah, and they never hit that too. That was their whole intentions of building this nation to rebuild Rome. So just we covered a lot of ground, and you really brought the science to us. So if an individual wants to start on this journey, what would you suggest they do?
The first thing I will tell you, and I'm going to tell everybody, that I had a whole list of books that you read book by book. And I think the brother Loving Ill, because again, like he would always, because the one thing about this whole journey, myself, I took it by myself, and I didn't want to. The more I learned, I was yelling off of the mountaintop, trying to get brothers to join in, but they wouldn't. They were scared, especially with the UCC.
Yeah,
I think Kilgore and them went down for about a year, and wasn't nobody. But I carry my book proudly every day into the law library. I ain't look. I'm going down like Mary J. Then, because I'm look here, because I put in like maybe 12, 13 appeals. They ain't give me no actions. But now I'm reading a UCC book, and you telling me I can't read this book? I got this book. I'm going down whatever. Matter of fact, like you just talked about, they gave me 8 months in the hole for putting in not even for preparing an affidavit that was for the court. They didn't even have authority to look at it. But they said it was sovereignty language in it in Moose Lake, and they gave me 8 months. I know brothers that done killed brothers in the joint and they ain't get that much time in the hole. Yeah. But again, all that did was fortify me into the right direction. If they're willing to do this to me, and this the only issue is reading or preparing a document, then I know I'm on the right track. It doesn't matter what they ain't nothing they can do to me, because you can't break my resolve. Matter of fact, all you doing is making it stronger and letting me know that I'm on the right path. Yes, sir. So that's what it is, though. But what you done when you talked about Rome again, it just made me think of something, especially the Bible cats. Why I tell them again, they don't even understand how nationality is so important. Now, in the Bible, God supposedly chose Paul to be one of the disciples to go on. And the real Bible thumpers will know why he chose Paul. It even states it, if I'm not mistaken. I ain't no real Bible cat like that. I'm Loving Ill, like I said, he'll quote off everything anytime I bring it up. But he chose Paul because of his nationality. Paul was a Roman citizen, and they couldn't do anything to Paul. They had to honor the law. They had to take him back to Rome in order to try him. They couldn't beat him or anything. So again, same difference. A Negro has no rights under anything, but if you proclaim your rights as truly as a Moor, they can't do anything to you. They have to honor the law. Again, there's a treaty that's still in play. This is the oldest treaty. It was the first treaty, and it's still in effect today. Like I said, they did it in 1787, and it was redone 50 years later in 1836. And they tried to steal the land then, because, as I told you, it was only a 50-year mandate for them to develop the land. And again, it was 12 tribes, and the 13th became the Europeans that were over here. So most people don't know that, but the Iroquois Confederacy was the original Confederate. You said that was the rebel flag? Yep. The one that, and that everybody, that they try to use as racist, but it actually has a more historical. Yeah, all of it though. Like I said, everything. You look back, check, for sure. Even the Vikings, all of that comes from the skeletons. You dig, which is what they call pygmies now. But they taught them how to build a boat and with the compass. It's all, you know what I'm saying? Well, we know the Irish. They, what you call that? Everybody St. Patrick's Day. Brothers don't know that was where they ran the Druze out. They say the black snakes, but they're talking about the Egyptian, the Druze priests. And that was all of our, like I said, this is all Moorish, but this has all been covered up, and nobody really, like I said, the kids now don't even want to understand, because they're like, oh, that was a old time. But you have to understand, in order to know where you're going, you have to understand where you come from. Right. Again, the seven tells a mastermind can trace himself from now to the beginning of time. You dig? And you have to be able to do that. And most people can't do it, or won't even begin to put the effort forth to understand. And then that's why, like I told you, chapter 1 in the circle 7 is so important, because it breaks down who you are and how you got here and what your true power is. We never even try to understand our true power and what it is, because I think the other brother, Mickey Frost, as he talked about, once you start learning self and know self, everybody else becomes irrelevant, because again, you always worried about self, or you're making self so righteous or so smooth that there's nothing that you can really do besides physically that can affect me. Your thoughts, your words, none of your deeds, those will not harm me. You know what I'm saying? The only thing you can do is physically, but we have been too concerned, we have been trained to be concerned about what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Why you over there building that? You blocking this. I mean, these are things that are not conducive to your growth.
Right. And the one thing that, I had Jafar on earlier, and, he come with the Kemetic studies. And the one thing I did know when I picked up Circle 7 and I actually looked at Egyptology was the fact that know thyself is throughout both of those literatures.
Go ahead.
Both know thyself. And as simple as that conversation is, it's really deep. You know what I'm saying? Know thyself. You know what I'm saying?
No. That's what the Moorish science is about. Know the straightaway path. Like you said, that's Egyptology. No, we never, that's where we originate from. You know what I'm saying? But again, while I follow the science, again, as I told you, it presents nationality, which gives me the rights that I have been denied. And everything else, I can trace my roots backwards, but so I have to go to that first and regain my nationality. I can't, personally, legally, claiming it without being able to demonstrate how it is that's what I am. The prophet that had already Noble Drew Ali and already did the work. All you have to do is proclaim, and there's nothing. And like I said, I know this personally. And most people talk about it because they don't really understand. Like you talk about when we proclaim in the joint or even at a temple, you're proclaiming at the temple. Act 6 in the Constitution tells you that you must proclaim before the nations in which you live. Before the nation in which you live in the nations of the earth. So you're giving everybody notice, and that's everything. That's the law. That's what the law is based upon. You are being given notice. The 10 Commandments, supposedly out of the Bible. He was giving notice to the people that these are the commands. You have to give notice when they charge us. They give us a notice, and we don't fight the notice. So we put in another notice asking them, like I told you, put in a notice of status, letting them know what my status is, and then I put in a abatement, basically abatement of show cause. You abate this process or show cause how I fit these criteria. It's that simple.
One thing I want. We don't have to. Noble Drew Ali.
Islam.
I see him coming out during the time Marcus Garvey, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, all that during that time, and at some particular time they're around there. That synergy. Because you got the Nation of Islam coming out, we got Marcus Garvey's movement come out, and we got Noble Drew Ali. There's something happening. At that particular period of time, we got 3 great leaders that still today are
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Everything they laid down is still relevant.
Truth,
right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to. Marcus Garvey is the only person that's in the Circle 7, and the Prophet Noble Drew Ali stated that Marcus Garvey was the John the Baptist for him. Marcus Garvey paved the way. Marcus Garvey even said, it was like, I can't show y'all the way. I'm just giving y'all, preparing y'all for the one who will come show you the way. And that was Noble Drew Ali. And they had a parade. They got a picture of them in the car. Yeah, exactly. And now brothers from the the black Muslims or whatever they call themselves now, which I ain't know, but Elijah Muhammad.
Nation of Islam?
Yeah, Nation of Islam. Elijah Muhammad was a secretary at the temple in Detroit. He was a Moorish, matter of fact, he was Elijah Poole Bey.
Yeah.
So he knew everything. But again, now, from my research, after coming from the temple, for him to call themselves black Muslims is it's derogatory. We know this because black, according to science, means death. You dig what I'm saying? Negro is a river in West Africa that nothing could live in. You dig? And what was the other one? Black color. And color just means something stained or varnished. So a man cannot be one of these things.
Science.
No, for real. So for him to do that again, and if you've read Malcolm X's last speeches, now these are Malcolm words, not mine. He stated that was it Pike, whoever the head of the Ku Klux Klans was. Malcolm said he went to meet him based on Elijah Muhammad. And they was giving them land. So and he was like, we never get into it with the Klan, but we kill our own. You know what I'm saying? So these things we know now, well, we always knew that the government puts in things in play to prevent what you're talking about. You dig? And that's why I say King and
Malcolm
were killed. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't have nationality. Had they proclaimed their nationality, it's against international law.
The conversation with Malcolm was that he was moving in that direction toward nationality. Is why they killed him, right?
Exactly.
He's going to the UN saying that these things aren't. He's using a different verbiage and terminology, but his whole understanding was like it's not helping us to be black and Negro in America.
Right, that's what he knew, though. That was the only thing he knew. He didn't have the full beats and pieces, like you said. Had he just simply said in Moorish, then they couldn't have done what they did to him, because now you're proceeding or pushing forth a Negro agenda. And again, Negro is created in America, nowhere else. Exactly. There's nowhere. Matter of fact, we get mad at Africans and things because they say they ain't black. They understand the terminology of black. Right. They understand you know what I'm saying? And even even in the book Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization, like I said, that was the book I read, and I like everybody to read it before they even started on the journey to Moorish, because they break everything down. And it even stated in there that like Kemet, the land of black, but they were talking about the soil, not the people's skin. And we know that because all of us have from like a rainbow color, from the lightest light from albino to the darkest person. So therefore, color, and as I stated, in every book, a so-called religious book, it never speaks of color. You know what I'm saying? It speaks of nations, and that's the only thing we should be speaking of.
Just to piggyback on that, and then we're gonna close out. I was in Stillwater. I was on a yard one time, and it was his brother. He was dark skinned, and I went up to him, because I was, I used to work out on the yard a lot, and he and I said, I was like, are you black? He's like, no, I'm Cuban. You know what I'm saying? Right, he knew who he was, right? And then because he looked like me,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Looked just like me, right? Everything looked just like me. He spoke Spanish. Like, no, I'm Cuban. But even just being Cuban in itself, we still talk about Aborigine people. Like they've been conquered. That reason they Cuban, they speak Spanish because they were conquered. But the fact of the matter, he still was connected with a nation, and he had a nationality and understood what that nationality was.
And just funny you even brought that up, because everywhere else, once the enslavement was over, the people got their nationality back because they knew who they were. In America, they specifically kept our nationality away from us because we don't know. But no one can give you nationality. You must proclaim it. You can't just be given. They can't just turn around and say everybody Moors, because a bunch of people don't want to be Moors. They take it as a religion. Again, as like I said, if you know the truth, the Moorish Science Temple of America is a university, basically, where you are taught your nationality and spirituality, because you have to get your spirituality back first in order to even understand nationality. True. Because we have been taught a religion that was not ours. So therefore, and the religion for the Moors is not Islam. Islamism is the religion, which simply means peace. So you can practice whatever religion you really want to be. It's just for you to be peaceful.
Yes, sir.
Again, it's back to the spirituality, but people don't know because we've been taught things, and anything that don't coincide with what we've been already trained to accept, we automatically just tense up when anybody says.
I like what you said. You said you feel like I was cheating on Christianity.
But that's how you're raised.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you feel dirty, like it. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, if we always raised like that, I mean, white Jesus on a
in the so-called black church, that makes no sense.
Blind hands, blue eyes.
In the book, it tells you though. The book, you reading the book. Now this is what I'm telling you. How don't nobody question these things? It tells you he had woolly hair and feet of bronze. Skin of bronze.
Yes,
I mean, these are simple things that we never even question. And then, like you're talking about, if you ask, because these are simple questions, a child asks, because you asked them as a child.
Yes.
Or some other child might ask it, and you see him get ridiculed and beat up by grandmama, mama, and the preacher. You never question anything anymore. You know, might not, but you got to fake it. You got to go into the Holy Ghost and all of this, but I can't even ask questions.
No, sir.
You dig? And I think that's another thing is our culture. We shut our people and our kids down so soon that that's why everybody's so ignorant and pretend that they know everything because the minute you start asking, what's the first thing your mama tell you? Boy, stop asking so many questions. Right. Well, how the hell am I supposed to know anything if I don't ask questions?
True.
You know, so we were taught that out the gate not to ask questions. And that's why we remain ignorant, because we still, instead of saying we don't know, we'll sit here and make up something and do anything instead of just, I don't know. You dig? That seemed like the hardest thing for brothers to say.
That's a cold statement, man. And that's true. As you talk about it, I looked in my past and I felt like that was my biggest fault, is not saying I did not know, acting as though I did, and falling into the pitfalls that comes along with that. You know what I'm saying? My man Vale, man, this boy, this man, I didn't know what I was getting. I didn't know what I signed up for. They came through this. They kept saying, get Vale on the show. I'm like, Vale, who? I looked at the picture, Islam sent me the picture. I was like, I know that brother. I know that brother that got him on the show. What's up, Osama? Good looking. I'm gonna have Baba on the show next week. He coming up.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We gonna demonstrate. We gonna keep this. Get in the comment box. Episode 47. Grill Pit is the studio. IGSTS is the show. I'm SF Mo. My man Ron B. They sitting in the crowd out there. What's up? We got Nate in the back. We gonna get some photos. We gonna chop it up with everybody. I appreciate y'all. He coming back. He coming back. I'm getting him back. I don't know about what he say. He coming back. We get this boy on demonstrate. I might have to give him his own show. You know what I'm saying? See, it's all good though. You know.
Yeah, y'all gonna be hired through the consultants. 612-407-2538. LNO Consulting.
For sure. Love, peace. I'm about to go smoke. SAF Mo.
I got something to say.
But hold up, I got something to say.